Hey everyone, been a while. I've been away for a couple of weeks on holiday, and of course a week to get back up to speed at work, all that fun stuff. But I'm back again with a pretty easygoing video back on this computer, which was featured in a project I did a while ago. Okay, so here's the machine in question. It's the Birthday 486. So this is the machine that I put together for my birthday using the CPU from my first computer. So it's quite old, a bit like me. So it's rocking just a Intel Overdrive 66 megahertz CPU. We've got 16 megabytes of memory, compact flash adapter, ISA Vibra Sound Blaster Vibra 16, and the usual selection of ports and drives and things like that. So it's pretty standard. Apart from the PCI slots on the motherboard, and that's just because it's a later 486 revision board. But this machine is missing a few little extra nice to haves, and also a few things which I think I really need to bring into being period correct. Okay, so one of the two things that I want to do today is deal with the CD-ROM and storage. So the CD-ROM drive just came with the case and it works. However, it is a 48 times, and for me that just doesn't feel quite right. Having such a fast CD-ROM drive in this machine, because the CPU is so slow, I don't think it really benefits from having it. So it's not, I would say, very period correct. It's probably a later 2000s drive. So I want to swap that out. And the other thing that I want to try in this machine is due to its physical sounds. And by that, I will show you what I mean. So yeah, as I said, there's nothing actually wrong with the machine, it's missing a bit of sound, and that is due to the fact I'm running a compact flash adapter. There's no hard drive whirring away there, and there is something to be said about having a physical drive inside of something like this. The compact flash card has opened up a world of possibilities of being able to just hot swap the storage. I can back it up easily and mess around with it, and if I break it, restore it, transferring games, drivers, but yeah, just not having noises inside of this box means that, you know, it feels like it's missing something. So I've collected some parts with some retail therapy while I was away on holiday. One of them I've had for many years, just never used it, and we're going to fit those parts into the machine. So let's check out and see what I've got. Alright, so the first part we're going to look at is a CD drive. It is a Creative GCD-R542B from December of 1995. So it's pretty yellowed, but I think it'll do the trick. It's a quad speed drive. I think a bit more suitable to the speed of the CPU in this thing. It's got some classic multimedia PC badging there. Looking around, this was a pretty middle of the road package. I don't believe this one came with any Sound Blaster cards or anything. It is just a IDE drive, so pretty basic. But yeah, I think it went for around about $160 or so. Looking online, what have we got here? It's just the reviews and everything. Give it pretty decent ratings. That just sort of does what it says on the sticker. I'm not sure if this is made by Gold Star. This one's also got badging from manufactured by LG on the top of it. But yeah, I think just a nice simple quad speed CD-ROM drive will do the trick on this thing. Alright, so in addition to the quad speed drive, we're also going to be fitting a quantum fireball, I don't think it's a fireball, sorry, a quantum Bigfoot. And these drives are actually quite large and slow. So this is the second generation of the Bigfoot series, the CY. It was released in about 96 from what I'm reading, and it had a leisurely speed of 3600 RPM, so definitely not a trailblazer. And it had a sort of RRP of 225 US dollars, I think, when it came out. This is the 2.1 gigabyte. There was a 4.3 and a 6.4, all at 3600 RPM. Basically, where it ended up with this was, I believe not this series, but the last of them, the TS, was the first drive to get into double digits in terms of capacity. I believe it was like 19 gigabytes, and that bumped the speed up to 4000 RPM. So definitely not really fast drives, but I think this is kind of neat because it's a 5.25 inch drive, so it's huge. It makes lots of noise, and I think it would be kind of neat just to put it in this machine. It's something a little bit different, and I just had it lying around for years. I've also got a 4 gigabyte model. I'm not sure if it's the CY or the TX model, but yeah, I've got one of those as well. Alright, so first things first, I need to clean this drive up. So I'm just going to use a cheap hard drive power supply, and we'll just plug it in like that. It should be able to open this up. I did notice there was a bunch of fluff and stuff just in there. It's pretty gross, so yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll clean this thing out and lubricate it. I don't want to spray air through this because I don't want to get dust underneath the laser lens, so I'm going to take this thing apart and we'll brush it out. Okay, so I managed to get into it. They always have a very creative way of getting these to put together, but basically there's these holes and there's some plastic here where my thumb is, and that you have to push that in and then pull the cover up, and then we're in. So I think what I'm going to do is take the sled out, oops, because I also I'd really like to replace the belt in the drive. So I think, does this just lift? There it is. I'll just keep it that all together, and I'm pretty sure what I need to do is just lift this little clip up, and then hopefully, yeah, there it goes, the whole thing slides forward and you can get to the belt, plus clean all the fluff out of there. So I'll go and do that. That one's probably alright, but I want to try the slightly shorter one. Make sure I've got good tension on this. Yeah, that feels good. Heaps of torque. Can't get any slippage. Cool, so I keep a selection of belts available for this. So I've cleaned the lens with a little bit of alcohol and got, I blew away all the fluff. Now we're just going to slide the tray back in. There we go. It should engage the teeth. The lubrication seems fine. I'm not going to add any. So sometimes it can attract dirt and gum things up a little bit, so if it doesn't need it, I'm not going to do it. Put the screw in. So it's pretty simple, it just snaps back together, so we'll just sort of hold it. Oh yeah, the back side of it has to sort of go in first. There we go. So the part where the IDE connectors are has to slide in backwards. Oops, I bent that a little bit, but that's okay. Let's try it out, make sure it still works. Okay. Working a treat. I'll just give it a general wipe down. Alright, best part now is putting the parts in the machine. Just going to take off some of the screws I left on here. Right, so this is the inside of the machine, looking lovely with its ribbon cables. What I was thinking of doing was keeping the compact flash card, but it looks like it won't fit because the new drive has to go in here because it's a 5 1/4 inch drive, and this ribbon cable is not going to reach if it's connected to the compact flash card. So looks like sadly I will be losing that. I was hoping to just to keep it as a means of transferring files to the machine, but there is other ways to do that, and I can show you guys some of those, but for now I think we'll just take it out. There it is. Alright, I'm going to start with the easy job first, get the CD-ROM out. As I said, it still works fine, it's just I would like something a bit more period correct, and there's nothing more period correct for a 486 than a multimedia branded Creative 4X Blaster or whatever it was called. So the only downside with packing everything in up here is it's really hard to get at all these ribbon cables. Alright. Yeah. Whew. This definitely, oh there it is, March 2000, so yeah, just a little bit newer than what I was looking for. Creative drive now, I'm just making sure my jumpers are all correct. Easier to do it now than later, that's for sure. Almost as yellowed as the rest of it. Can I get to the IDE ribbon? It's also worth mentioning I have tested the drive. I have been there and done all this work, put a drive in only to find that it's faulty. So I've learned from my foolish, youthful mistakes. By youthful I mean last month. Now this big old Mahuna shouldn't actually be too bad. It is set to master. I'll just pull this through. I actually don't know the correct orientation, but it does say it can be used on any axis, so if that's true, this should work without tearing itself apart. The ergonomics of old computers. I'm surprised I haven't sliced my fingers. Alright, just stuff that all in there. Yep, seems good. find some screws to put in this thing, in this weapon of a drive. Alright, there she is. It's looking a bit sad without its front cover, so we'll pop that on. Oh, I hate doing these, especially when they're in the sun and getting brittle. Yes, I know I should retro bright this. In New Zealand, we don't have the same sort of supplies, I guess, for that stuff. So, yeah, there it is. We'll plug it in and let's make sure it all works. And it looks like I forgot to plug in a floppy disk drive. Okay, so this is a small gotcha. This is the 3.5 inch floppy disk drive, and the ribbon cable is stuck behind the drive, so it's actually pulling this cable. So I'm thinking maybe I'll have to tilt this upwards a little bit. I'll have a look and figure that one out. Alright, so here's my solution, and I don't like it, but it's kind of the only way to do it. I've had to take out the screw here and move the drive up to this mounting hole and tilt it a bit like this, which has then relieved the tension off the cable in here for the drive. I've actually done this before with one of these drives. It's been a long time since I remembered that, but if you're using a 5.25 inch drive like I am, floppy drive, and you want to mount it underneath, unless you can get a longer ribbon cable, which I don't have, that's going to be the next best thing. Looking good. And yes, I just loaded a quick copy of Windows 95 on this just to test the CD drive out and hard drive and make sure they are all working. Alright, test out the CD drive, make sure it still works. Got a copy of Windows 95 here. Nice. Yep, working a treat. So the next job is to reinstall DOS and Windows 3.11, and I thought I'd do it a little bit differently. There's a really good guide if you go on the WinWorld PC library for MS-DOS 622. I'll link it in the description along with all the other info on this video, but there's a really well written guide on setting up a DOS installation, and I figured what we'll do is reinstall DOS on this and go through that, and yeah, see what we can get out of it. I think the guy who wrote it, it's all about memory consumption and stuff like that, so yeah. You can see my very slow screensaver there, but what we'll do is I'll put the lid back on this and we'll crack into DOS and Windows 3.11 and get that all set up and good to go. What I'm going to do is just going to change gears a little bit. I'm going to release a separate video on setting up the MS-DOS installation because it's going to be quite lengthy. So if you want to check that out, that will be in the channel, probably shortly released after this one, if not at the same time. So yeah, a few tips and tricks in there. Definitely check it out because yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there I didn't know how to do. But we'll cut back to the machine after it's all set up and good to go. Well everyone, that wraps the video up. I've just put the drive in and both of them and configured DOS per the video that will be coming out soon. Keep an eye out for that, by the way. But yeah, other than that, everything seems to be working a treat, and no oddball issues from all that high memory adjustment or anything like that. But yeah, I'm really happy to have this thing whirring and clicking away as it should, being the 486. But yeah, other than that, hope you guys enjoyed, and simple upgrades, and we'll catch you guys soon. Right, bye for now.